Have you ever feel like this? You buy a new vocabulary book with full of motivation, but you quit it after just 3 days. Or you think you memorized some words, but you can't use them in conversation. Has this happened to you? But what if I tell you that you can quickly input these words and not forget it? Or what if you can actively use these words in conversation? And all your worries about vocabulary learning will be gone from now. In this video, I'm gonna share how to learn vocabulary effectively from my own experience. I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be epic and change your perspective on English vocabulary. But before we get into it, let me introduce myself. My name is Eddie. I'm 100% Japanese. I started studying English when I was 20 years old. And before that, my life was all about baseball. I had never been abroad. I couldn't speak English at all. I started from nothing. Now I can talk to anybody in the world. I can interview people on the streets. I can comfortably talk to people. I'm really glad that I put myself into studying English and getting English skill. It's very nice. There's nothing like it. You can go abroad, you can make friends there, and you can have new connection. I'm gonna spend the rest of my life speaking English. It's great. I want to let you know one thing. If you are struggling with studying English, or if you feel stuck in studying English, or if you don't have time to study English every day, I want to be the person who speaks English. I made an English roadmap from zero start to be fluent. You can exactly know what you have to do for study. Over 1,000 people got this, and I got so many appreciation. And if you want this, you can get it for free. So please check that down below. All right, let's get into it. I have a question for you. Why are you memorizing vocabulary? Many people, including me, when I started studying English, lost the sight of this purpose. Is it to solve fill in the blank problems on TOEIC? The answer is no. The reason you memorize words is to be able to speak with foreigners and understand what they're saying, right? People mistakenly believe that understanding words from a vocabulary book means they've acquired them. Memorizing and acquiring are totally different. Unfortunately, even if you memorize all these words this way, you won't be able to speak English. And actually, I made a mistake, and I've been through it. When I started studying English at 20, I wanted to speak English, but I didn't know where to begin. And I thought vocabulary is the most fundamental element. So I bought a TOEIC vocabulary book called Kikutang. And in the first month, I kept memorizing words in a vocabulary book. And I decided to remember 20 words each day. And I was like, okay, today, I'm gonna memorize 20 words. And the next day, I'm gonna memorize another 20. But you know what? I would forget most of the words the next day. But still, I persisted. Like, I have to remember 20 words today. The next day, I remember 20 words, 60, 80, 100 words. It was so tough, but I was really passionate. But at the end of the month, I joined the free conversation with international people, and I tried to talk to them. The words didn't come out of my mouth at all. The result was devastating. After desperately memorizing vocabularies for months, I couldn't produce even one word during the conversation. All the time spent memorizing was a waste of time. I was so disappointed at the time. I strongly tell you that if you're memorizing a vocabulary book only, you should stop it right now. Here are the incorrect vocabulary learning methods that 90% of English learners use. And number one, reading vocabulary books repeatedly to memorize words. And you might be thinking, what do you mean? You don't read vocabulary books? But how can I speak English without vocabulary? Okay, I'll tell you one thing. Many people think seeing a word and understanding its meaning means they've acquired the word. But what is really the result? Can you speak English right now? Do words flow naturally in conversation? They don't, right? That's the answer. We've been doing this from elementary school. We learn vocabulary through vocabulary books, and we write a lot of words. We read a lot of words. You know, we've been doing this since elementary school, but nothing comes out. Like, reading vocabulary book is like a kind of side effects of our education. Like, memorizing meanings in vocabulary books prepares you for the test, but isn't practice for using words in actual conversation. Learning vocabulary for speaking is totally different. Okay, here's the thing. What's the best way to learn vocabulary? Okay, don't get me wrong. I say this because it's from my experience, but I literally tried every single method for vocabulary, and I'm telling you the most effective methods that I thought. The important thing is not to memorize these words, but to consciously make them usable. Learn the words that you want to say, but you can't. Instead of memorizing random vocabulary books that you probably never use, let's learn the words that you actually use in your daily life. For example, I'll ask you some questions, so you answer me. Okay, what do you like to do for fun? What did you do yesterday? And what's your plan for tomorrow? Now stop the video and you answer my questions. And now you realize that even if you want to say something and you come up with some Japanese sentences in your head, you can't say that. The words don't come out, right? That's the problem. You don't know the words, and you don't know how to translate from Japanese to English. Your brain is not used to English version. But here's the most important thing. If there's some words that you don't know, don't skip over these words. Always, you have to look them up immediately or make a note to look them up later. The biggest difference from learning from vocabulary books is whether you're active or passive. Words you couldn't express yourself is much easier to remember than memorizing randomly these words. Even at my current level, I still learn vocabulary this way today. After the first month of studying English, I haven't used a vocabulary book for speaking and listening, and I'm not gonna use it in the future for sure. Okay, I'm gonna break it down how to make a note with vocabulary. So the actual method is during the conversation with foreigners, note down words that you don't know how to say. And then after the conversation, you can ask ChatGPT. Or you don't need people to discover new words. You can do it by yourself. For example, you talk to yourself. The idea for this is to learn unknown words that you encounter while doing this. Once I changed my mindset to this approach, I was suddenly able to use vocabulary that I acquired in practice. Trust me, this is really good method. Number 2, incorrect vocabulary learning method is writing words to memorize them. What's the best way to learn vocabulary? I strongly recommend that you learn from videos, not from textbooks. Here's the reason. Words are always used in sentences. The best way to understand how they are used in sentences is to see how native English speakers actually use them in conversation. After I stopped reading vocabulary books, I started watching YouTube videos that interested me. I watched a lot of travel vlogs and TV dramas like Friends. While I was watching it, I would look up unknown words and write it down, and I try to understand how they're using in a conversation, how the word is functional in the sentence. If you try understanding words this way, you're gonna understand how to use the words in sentence and word itself. Okay, I'll give you an example. The other day, when I was watching a YouTube, I found a YouTube video which the guy talks about their apartment in New York City. He was doing his apartment tour in New York City. And when he said the square footage of this apartment measures out to 220 feet, but doesn't include the loft. That's what he said. This sentence that he said is the most valuable and trustable sentence that we learn because he is a native English speaker. We always have to look after native English speakers, what they say, you know, because if we create the words by ourselves, we're not native English speaker. You don't know how to use the words in the right way. When you look at this sentence, you're gonna learn so much meanings of words and how it's used. Okay, I'm gonna break it down, okay? First of all, the square footage. So what does this mean? This is like the Japanese concept of measuring room size in tatami. In English, they say the square footage. Or next, we have to pay attention to measure. When you learn the word measure on a textbook, I think it's just my imagination, but when we look at the word, it says just a measure, 何々を測る, right? But how he used in the sentence is different. He said measure out to. This means the measures comes to. This is a typical example. If you only saw the word measure itself, you would probably say the square footage measures 220. But however, native English speaker, he said measures out to 220 feet. He used the phrase out to after the measure. This is definitely you can only learn from native English speakers videos. You could never learn this stuff from a textbook. And what did you think about it? How was that? I'm gonna summarize today's video. Okay, number 1, don't use a vocabulary book to remember words. Instead of doing that, look up and learn words that you couldn't express. And number 2, don't write down words to remember it. Learn vocabulary from native English speakers video. I want to let you know one thing. If you are struggling with studying English, or if you feel stuck in studying English, or if you don't have time to study English every day, I want to be the person who speaks English. I made an English roadmap from zero start to be fluent. You can exactly know what you have to do for study. Over 1,000 people got this and I got so many appreciation. And if you want this, you can get it for free. So please check the down below. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in my video, please give me a like and subscribe. See you in the next video.